Lead down the staircases to the trackside apron and proceed out onto the track. Turn left or right and continue along the outside rail to exit. Those in the second floor easy-goer dining area will go down the staircases at the rear of the building to exit through the park and out Gate B. Those in the paddock area and paddock tent will walk through the paddock and out the saddling area emergency gate. Please be mindful of any horses that may be in close proximity. Those in the other rear park areas will proceed out the nearest unobstructed gate. All egress aisleways and emergency exits must be kept clear of personal articles and items. Once outside, please continue away from the gates and await further instructions from public safety personnel. Elevators and escalators will not be in use during an emergency evacuation. Guest services and security personnel will be available to guide and assist ADA guests and anyone who may require additional assistance. This concludes our evacuation plan for Saratoga Racecourse. Thank you for being prepared in advance to respond calmly in an emergency. Enjoy today's events.
The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga. We had rains overnight and this morning. As a result, the main track is sloppy and sealed, and we are off the turf today. No turf racing. We do have a pick six carryover, and that carryover is more than $250,000. Today, the pick six begins in race 5. Changes start in race number 1. In the first race, scratch number 7, Dream Lith. Scratch the 7. Second race off the turf goes on the main track at the same distance. Here are the scratches in the second. Scratch 1, Our Destiny. 3, Scotty Brown. 5, Veterans Beach. 10, Our Troubadour. 11, Panster. And 12, Wild William. Scratch 1, 3, 5, 10, 11, and 12. And note that number 2, Money in the Bank, the rider, will carry no whip again. Race 3 is off the turf. It will now be run on the main track at the distance of 1 1/8 miles. Scratch 2, Hit the Nail. 3, Marvelous Maud. Scratch 4, Akushla. 6, Saluki. And 9, Comset. Scratch 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9 out of the third. In the fourth race, scratch number 2, Tale of the Union. Scratch the 2. The pick six commences in race number 5. And the fifth race is off the turf on the main track, same distance, 5.5 furlongs. Scratch 2, Herald Angel. 3, Appreciate. Scratch 5, Ginger Kitty. 7, Defy Expectations. Scratch 12, Sassy Melissa. And scratch the 13, Little Dutch Girl. Again in race 5. Scratch 2, 3, 5, 7, 12, and 13. Number 14, Air Cavalry, will now be ridden by Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz on the 14. And number 15, Bella Domenica, the rider is Irad Ortiz Jr. Irad Ortiz Jr. on the 15. No changes in the 6th. 7th race, scratch the 1, Raffinity. Scratch number 1. Race 8 off the turf. We'll begin with the scratches. Scratch 1, Mo Ready. 3, Olympico. Scratch 4, Value Engineering. Scratch 7, 40 under. 8, Conviction Trade. 9, City Man. Scratch the 10, Winning Factor. 11, Cavalry Charge, and the 12, No Word. Again in race 8. Scratch 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we have these jockey changes. Number 5, Falkirk. The rider is Joel Rosario. Rosario is on the 5. Number 13, You're to Blame. The rider is Gerard Ortiz Jr. Gerard Ortiz Jr. on the 13. And number 14, Locally Owned, will now be ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. Gaffleone on the 14. Featured 9th race is the Grade 3 Chuvy Stakes. Scratch number 5, Antoinette. Scratch the 5. And no changes in today's 10th and final race. Main track is sloppy and sealed. We are off the turf today, and we have a pick 6 carryover of $257,811. We'll come back at 12:30 to reprise the changes. First race post today is at 1:05. Up next, it's the Sunday edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses as week number 2 here at Saratoga comes to a conclusion. It's Sunday. It's July 25th. The guy over here who's snickering for some reason, that's Anthony Stabile. I am Andy Serling.
You're doing a little puck
You know,
thing.
the danger of the damage was done last night with a bit of rain overnight. The good news is totally cleared up.
Beautiful day.
Going to be a beautiful day here. Come out to Saratoga. We are off the turf. We are sloppy and sealed right now. The way the weather is, though, there will be some drying, I'm sure, throughout the day. We're just glad to be here. It was an exciting day yesterday. We'll talk about it after you head over to NYRABets.com. If you're not a member of NYRABets.com,
do your duty.
we order you. We do it for you. Don't do it for us. Do it for yourself. Become a member of NYRABets. Do it for essential quality. Use the promo code SPA200. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. And you too can enjoy many of the fruits that NYRA has to offer.
The fruits.
Pick 6 carryover today begins in race number 5. $257,811. The first Pick 6 carryover of the Saratoga meeting, and certainly not the last.
How cool is that, by the way? That's a one-day carryover.
That's right. That is a one-day carryover. And it gets paid even if there's 7 winners, unlike those hideous jackpot bets.
Wow.
Low roller contest every Thursday and Saturday over by the 4-Star Dave. A $40 buy-in, $30 live money, 10 of the prize pool. Go see Ray and Jay. They're 2 of the greatest guys ever. Hang out with them, play the low rollers, have some fun. Also, Saturday Live, I did it again. I'm trying to figure this one out, and my head's spinning. 1 to 2 on FS2, 2 to 3 on FS1, and 3 to 6:30 on FS2, covering all of the action.
What you gonna do
at Saratoga? So the CCA Oaks yesterday, I should have queued up the stretch run, but
it's okay.
Tough morning.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen a race that was more uninteresting on paper be more exciting on the racetrack. 4-horse field, essentially a 3-horse field. And I got to tell you, I was about as excited watching that race. Didn't play, didn't really have a particular interest in the outcome other than it being a horse race and obviously including the Kentucky Oaks winner. I just thought that was I just had the best time watching that race.
Unbelievable stretch drive. Unbelievable stretch drive.
The whole race was great.
Yeah.
I saw Angel Cordero after the race, and I said, Angel, I think Irad rode that horse the way you used to ride. Irad Ortiz on Carriere, I think he understood, as did Steve Asmussen, that we got to do something to try to win this race. And I think similar to Frost did when they actually tried to beat American Pharoah in the Travers, as opposed to sort of letting him waltz around in slow fractions, which was frequently the case. They actually came the closest to beating him they ever did by being aggressive, and I think they did that. It backfired. So what? They weren't beating her if they just let her walk on the front end.
If they let her walk on the front end, they were gonna finish third, which is where they finished.
Yeah.
So at least you take a shot. It didn't work out, but great job by Ricardo Santana Jr. Allowing Clairiere to go do the dirty work for him. He had
getting out of that spot.
I'm sorry?
Getting out of that spot.
Yep. Great race. Great race.
It was. Anyway, congrats to Rob Atras, by the way, Rob and Brittany Atras, their first grade one. What a first grade one to win a historic race like the CCA Oaks.
First grade one win comes at Saratoga.
In that race. Race that Ruffian won. The last race that Ruffian ever won.
You got to take care of, but to be part of the CCA club, the coaching club, you got to take care of 4 horses.
For $1, I'll give you a free lunch. Who was second to Ruffian in the CCA Oaks?
Oh, I don't know.
I tried.
I wasn't even born.
79, by the way.
Wasn't even born.
79, I beat you yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Easily.
I wasn't even born. I'm worried about this cough right now.
Should I move over the other end of the table?
No, it's allergies, man.
It's always allergies. You ever notice that? Anyway, race number 1. So race numero uno. We'll start with a replay of Tap and Go, the last 3/8 of a mile, the number 6. It's a funny race because on paper, I think it looks a little different. That's why I showed it on paper than it was. It's just sort of weird. I don't think this horse really closed as much as the leader just sort of collapsed in the late stages, drifting out badly. I wasn't overly impressed. Obviously, the horse can win, but a good first-year will beat it, and I have to play another horse in this race. But this horse going to take money. I don't want this horse.
Yeah, it was. Besides the fact that you need Dramamine for some of these Ellis Park replays. Yeah.
You ever take Dramamine?
Yeah, one time on a fishing boat. I still got sick.
I was on the ferry to Block Island.
Yeah, no. I was on a fishing boat. It was still
the idea of you on a fishing
bad
boat, by the
news
way,
Brown,
is really
man.
funny.
Not a good time.
You ballast?
I'm sorry?
Were you ballast?
I was unbalanced. I was not balanced.
I said ballast.
I'm with you. This horse, I don't think this horse did that much running.
No, I don't either. I don't want this.
I mean, I put the horse third.
Okay, so tell us about the 4
I don't got much.
I don't got much. Anthony,
practical jokes. I don't have anything.
I know you're from Brooklyn, but you're
Queens.
an educated guy.
I'm from Queens.
And you speak well, and we think of the kids.
I don't have much for you about this one. I didn't really care.
There's a big story to tell about this horse.
I don't have a story about this horse.
There's a big story to tell.
Okay.
This is actually, in an odd way, kind of one of the more interesting first-time starters you'll see.
I don't have a story.
You're just picking Chad Brown.
Yes and no.
Okay, what's the no?
Yes and no.
part? You said you don't have.
I didn't want the runners. I didn't really want.
Okay, why do you want this horse?
Can you if you'll let me finish? If you'll let me finish. This horse, the dam was one on turf, but the rest of the pedigrees in here, and I went to the two pedigrees, the Arrogate and the Practical Joke, but both of them, one's turf on the bottom, the other's route on the bottom. But I don't want the runners. A couple of the firsts in here come from barns that don't really win first time out. So I took the two guys that have had success up here, and I really didn't have much to say in here. This was a tough opener for me.
It was, because you picked a horse that's actually a really interesting story. You
I don't know the
about
story, man.
This horse
I'm
sold
not as in tune as you, Andy.
Anthony.
Yes.
It's not about being in tune.
Okay.
It's about doing the work.
Okay.
Okay. This horse sold for $185,000 to Weanling, which is obviously in the form. This horse sold for $500,000 over at Tattersall in a 2-year-old breeze sale on the grass. And as David Argona said to me, I don't think it timed the breeze. I said, did they time any of the races over there? But this horse, Breeze in the Grass, sold for $500,000 roughly after that breeze a few months ago. And I remember they wrote about it. I think I read about it in TDN. Might have been Blood Horse, might have been both.
Okay.
And ended up with Chad Brown coming over here. You see Peter Brandt and Magner and others involved. And came over Peter, and it's a Practical Joke, and Chad's running this horse on the dirt. It's kind of an interesting story. I don't know that this horse is really a runner or not. Obviously, is very dangerous. I have to bet Shanghai Essence. Shanghai Essence looked like a very typical Linda Rice first-time starter that had no idea what it was doing. Now, let's be fair. I know this horse may just be in too tough. But Linda doesn't drop this horse after a seemingly bad performance. For what it's worth, 2-year-old second-time starters and dirt sprints, maidens. A maiden special weight, she's 3 for 10 with a 242 ROI. This horse is much like her second-time starters, come back very well. And I've got to bet a few dollars in this horse at a price. Obviously, if a firster gets bet heavily, the 4 particularly, I'll use that horse in exactas. But I'm betting Linda second time out.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I thought you'd have this horse somewhere.
Yeah, I like I said, I had a tough time with this race. I think you said it best. This horse might just be in a little too tough. I don't know. She didn't do much running first time out, but that's what Linda does, right? They fire second time.
They improve a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that maiden race yesterday, which looked so interesting on paper for the boys.
Kind of fizzled a little bit, right?
The winner, in the context of the race, ran well. It got a buyer in the high 50s. It was a awfully slow race. And it's funny with these races, because sometimes they look sort of on paper, and you see like a stakes horse, and sometimes they look really good on paper. That race looked really good.
On the racetrack.
And after the race, it was just, I can't wait to bet against the second horse next time out. The horse was flying at the end in the fast-paced race. Race number 2. Money in the Bank. Here's Anthony's top selection. Money in the Bank, winning last time. Not really much to say.
3 in a row. 3 in a row. No whip again for Money in the Bank, getting the job done over 9th hour.
Anthony, apparently it's no longer called that 4-letter word. It's a new 4-letter.
That's what we had on the graphic. We had the whip. We had no whip again.
It's now a crop.
Yep.
It would now be a crop.
You know what they call it in Australia? The Persuader. I like that.
I thought that was your nickname.
No, it is. It absolutely is. But let's not get into it. It's the Persuader down in Australia. Yeah, no whip again. So it's a nice 3-race win streak
like
off the claim for Chris
I want to
Engel.
start calling it the Persuader.
I know, me too.
I'm going to start.
Yeah,
like
the Australian announcers is great.
Yeah, that's a great. That's
3 in a
awesome.
row. I'm off the pace. This horse has hit the board. I mean, how fantastic is this horse? 5 for 8 with 3 seconds.
Fantastic. You know what I'm surprised by the way?
What's that, Bubby?
You don't have Dr. Blute anywhere, and you tried this horse in the Mike Lee. You don't think Dr. Blute's a little interesting? I'm a little worried Dr. Blute's just kind of falling apart.
I'm kind of, right. I worried that he beat a really weak field on the dirt first time. I did it the right way, but he just kind of went the wrong way, hasn't he?
Well, his last race, I know it was 7, was abysmal, and the time before it, he didn't do much running, tough field or not. As far as Luna's in charge, I don't like that he vanned off last time. I thought he was super interesting on the turf. He'd run behind Maxwell Esquire last year on the turf here and thought he ran well that day.
Only turf race, yeah.
I just figured, it's like, why would Phil Bauer ship this horse here after being vanned off if he thought there was a real issue? You know what I mean?
I agree.
And ran against Happy Mac, in a 6.5 actually, excuse me, last time. And he's got plenty of races that can win it. I didn't want to take the favorite, though. Clearly, you're absolutely right. He's the horse to beat. No question about it.
Well, he's the logical. I mean,
I think
he's
looking
the logical
for trouble is
horse,
not
isn't
impossible.
He?
I don't think looking for trouble is impossible. And Maker's horses are running.
Yeah, I mean, so they left Dr. Duke in. He's going to have to deal with Dr. Duke early, right? I mean, I think that's what kind of knocks looking for trouble down a peg. He's going to have to deal with the horse right to his outside early on.
You make a great point.
Yeah. But if, there's an instance
What
where...
about Him She Kisses, the horse you have fourth?
Yeah, I mean, Source can wake up, I guess.
Yeah, problem is she was forward when she won and had the run of the race, beating a horse like Victory Built, who never wins.
What I would obviously say is this horse's 3 best races came on wet track, so maybe the wet track helps.
The problem is, are any of them good enough to win?
Right,
here?
no.
That's the problem.
Right.
If you're right about it, they're still just not good enough to win here. So,
but at least there's some consistency on the wet track where some of the others have one race on the wet track that are good. At least 2 of his races... Two of his races are better than the other worst races.
You love wet tracks.
I do love wet
that's
tracks.
Nonsense to talk about. Race number 3. So race number 3, wow. 5-horse field, and Anthony has left out the $800,000 La Verdad. You've left the horse out of the top 4. How many lunches do you want to bet she's in the Super?
You're going to keep doing this.
How many lunches do you want to bet she's in the Super? We bet 21. We'll make it an even 100
Why
tomorrow.
do you want to keep doing it? You want her to go 1 mile and 1/8. I mean...
That idiot that trains her, the guy, Todd Pletcher, that's getting ensconced in the Hall of Fame in a few moments, he knows the race is at 9 furlongs.
How about you give me 3-2, she's not in the try.
Okay.
I'll take 3-2, she's not in the try.
3-2, 10 in try. Go 6-4 if you want. Okay.
3-2 is enough.
So we'll be crossing the 80 barrier at approximately 2:20
Have you watched this horse's 2 races?
Yeah, if this horse runs back to its first race, this field will be confused. The second horse will think she won because she'll be so far behind this horse.
You're so sick.
If she runs her first race.
Have you watched these 2 races?
No, Anthony, have you?
I have.
No, you haven't. Because
I
if you think
hated her
this horse's first race was
hated her
bad,
last
you don't
time.
have a clue. You were right. She ran poorly. But that doesn't mean her first race wasn't good. Because that's wrong.
Hold on a second. I would not call her first race good.
You're right. I wouldn't either. I would call it exceptional. I would actually call it exceptional. She got completely left. She got eliminated at the break. She chased a pace that collapsed wide against a gold rail. Yeah, I'd call it an exceptional effort.
You got the dunce cap here? I'll dunce cap
Anthony,
this one.
Believe me, you both deserve a dunce cap
This
for
one I'll
his
dunce
opinion.
cap.
Okay.
I'll dunce cap this horse.
No, that's okay. You should wear it every day. You're
I'll dunce cap
ridiculous
this
to
horse.
not realize this horse.
Did you watch this horse's last race?
This horse was bad last time. Let me ask you a question.
There's a lot of things to not like about that horse's last race.
Let me ask you a question about this horse. Don't you think this horse is going to be kind of forward in here?
I don't care if this horse has a head start today. I'm not betting this horse.
I'm going to look at my phone. There has to be 20
race.
texts from people who think
Let
you're
them text.
insane.
Let them fire away.
I'm going to show you the text I actually got because I want you to read it.
That's fine.
It's from my favorite person in the world. Caught you. You're a little fooled by that
I was ready
one,
to start
aren't you?
reading. You're lucky I didn't. I guess I'm lucky I didn't.
Actually, was not about what we were talking about.
Whoever that is makes a great point.
My favorite person in the entire world.
Oh, I can't sit. I'm out of it today. I gotta get home.
Okay.
That's
All
accurate.
right.
That's accurate, by the way.
By the way, not to make too much fun of Anthony, but I picked Tapplesider last time, so I've already worn the dunce cap for Tapplesider. I don't know, Ant. This horse can't run at all. I guess she could win here, but I don't know, dude.
I'm just hoping she's a couple of races under her belt. And
You don't think that Pop the Bubbly is the horse to beat if you don't like La Victoria?
No, I think Opponent's Dream's a little interesting. I think Opponent's Dream's going to want some. Going to want some ground.
I don't think it matters. She just plods along. She can win. I'm not saying she can't. I mean, honestly, I won't be shocked by anybody winning this race. I don't want the 1, but I guess that's not. You know, I want.
They left the horse in.
I honestly, Anthony, obviously you and I completely disagree, which is fine. I think that the 10 is going to destroy this field today.
Okay.
I really do. I think by the top of the stretch, people will be eating their lunch and they'll be cashing their tickets. I think it's a complete joke.
All right.
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, I also want this horse to be good. I love La Verdad.
Who doesn't? Who didn't? Who doesn't? Who didn't?
You like that text?
I'm losing it, man. Yeah, that text is fantastic.
Text of the
Send me a
week.
copy of that.
Text of the week. Anyhow, race number 4. They scratched my horse in here. Tail of the
That's
Union.
a good scratch for you.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, she didn't like wet track. You probably called him and said, scratch this horse. Doesn't like wet track. He was a kick in the pants today. I didn't really want it. So you like the 1A, not the 1. Guys, can we make my picks 1, 5, 6, 4, please? For those at home that want to bet Superfectus.
Let's rephrase. I selected. I don't know if
Well,
like is the right
the
word.
problem with the 1A, Anthony, is the horse can't win without the lead. He's proven time and time again. And he's not getting the lead from Munaki, probably. He's certainly not
But
getting it
let
from
me ask you this, though,
Amundsen.
Andy. Don't you feel like this horse has
He can't
been
win.
better overall
No, I
from
feel-
off the pace?
No. No, this horse refuses
That's a
to
stupid
pass.
laugh, by
That
the
is
way.
a terrible opinion.
How
This
is that-
horse
the
has
two
hung
best
like a
races-
sham.
Hold on a second.
No.
The two fastest races of his
Can't-
life were 2 and 3 back.
Can't win without the lead, Anthony. He's proven
I don't
that
know
in
how-
his career,
how-
that he can't pass horses. I'm not saying he hasn't run okay in those races, but no, he can't pass horses. That's what he's
See,
proven
when
in
you
those
want to
races.
say that wins are the best races,
No.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think wins the best races. I think Malathaat actually ran the best race she ever ran when she lost yesterday. The point is, this particular horse, I'm not going to say this horse didn't run reasonably well in the constant race. This horse refuses to go by. You know that.
maybe the
Come
blinkers.
on.
Maybe the blinkers will help that. Maybe the blinkers will help that. Listen, maybe he's goofing around and looking around. I don't know. Maybe the blinkers will help that. I don't think it's not going to sharpen them up because
Maybe there'll be a bag of cash. when I
they've
get home to my
kind of
apartment,
made
sitting in
it
front
their
of the door.
they've kind of made it their business after this horse stumbled the first time for Ruby.
ask
They
you
kind
another-
of made it their business to take this horse off the
Can I ask you another question? If you like this horse, you're going to get a third of the price you were going to get because it's running an entry
Listen,
with
it's
this
not like
horse.
I don't love
Excellent
this
timing.
race, Andy. It's a tough race, but
Well, I like the two. Let's take a look at excellent
Okay.
timing with Damon Runyon. I'm not sure what to do with excellent timing, to be honest with you. Gets Lasix. You do wonder if maybe he bled last time. I don't care what happened to the turf. He's not a turf horse. I'm not sold on this horse. To be honest, when they put the scratches and the two scratched, I should have put Amundsen on top. Because I don't want the 1A because he can't win without passing. Now listen, maybe Bronx Bomber will just outrun them all. Maybe Irad will put him on a dead scent and he'll wire the field. And if that's the case, he could win.
yeah, I mean, it's a
This was a good rail. It run a race.
neither part of the entry is reliable.
No,
and
they're
if
not.
you like one or the other, it buries your price.
Well, if you like the 1A, it's particularly the one's the one that's going to take the bulk of the play.
I guess.
If you don't have Amundsen anywhere, I know he's off form, but
Andy, those last three are so bad.
I'll give you a stat. First time for a tag, Horatio De Paz is 11 for 29, 38%, 487
Wow.
ROI. 457 or 480.
Wow.
The 5 could be an 88.
He's just been so
5.
bad, Andy. July, February, May,
What if
July.
what if he goes on a dead scent here? He's also, you're right, he's been
bad.
bad.
He's
no,
been
no,
bad.
I-
He's been bad.
Anthony, I get it, but the reason I didn't put the stat up was it's not a claiming race. It's an allowance race where it's an option.
Right,
you know
it's
what I
the
mean?
optional.
That's why I
Is he
didn't
the only
do it
horse in for the
because I didn't
tag?
think he totally fit like he
No.
was running against a
Yeah.
field of claimers. But Anthony, you're going to tell. Okay, I tell you what. I will bet you one lunch he beats the 3.
No, I'm not. There's nobody. I'm not. I wouldn't bet anything.
Five
in this
Horse
race.
Field has it last.
I wouldn't
and
bet
they won't
anything
bet his
in this
second
race.
choice
No
against it.
shot. Zero chance at me betting anything in this race. Zero.
Is Phil still here?
Phil left.
What happened?
He's Phil's a
Drive him out?
Phil had to work. No, he had to go.
Phil has to work.
Phil had to go to work. Phil had to go to work. I mean,
You have friends at work?
not all of us get paid to come to the racetrack, Andy. The rest of the world has
make a
to
great-
go on
make a
without
great point.
has to
All
move
right,
on.
I
without
disagree
us.
with you in this race about the 1A.
What a shocker.
But the one could win. Well, I don't think I'm the only one that disagrees.
It was listen.
I can see.
It's a
Okay,
tough race.
race number 5.
Nobody's reliable.
I want to tell Peter Pugh that he should not have scratched Ginger Kitty.
Starts the pick 6 carryover.
$257,811.
You wanted
Ginger
to
Kitty
go-
more
you
likely to
wanted
win
to
this
go
race
right
on
after Peter
dirt.
Pugh.
Which race was she more likely to win this race on dirt or turf? I think she's more likely to win it on dirt. What do I know?
I guess.
Oh, we got the same horsey here. Why do you like the 10?
Lime.
The 10 is Lime.
Lime. First race. Maybe this was on a dirt first time out. I think it was. This was down at Gulfstream Park. It was a rare April at Gulfstream for Wesley Ward.
He runs horses in April at Gulfstream.
Yeah, but
He runs 2-year-olds there. No, wrong. Not a rare. Go to Formulator and look it up. You'll find quite a few.
what I'm trying to say is, they're ordinarily at Keeneland.
No.
The big-
He runs horses at Gulfstream in April. He also runs horses at Keeneland. He also runs horses in New York.
He left this horse, house
rare.
horse, bred this horse, owns this horse, owned this horse at the very least. I don't know. I felt like this horse going to 5.5, wet track. This horse is supposed to like a wet track. Just go to the top. That was pretty
I
much it.
just
The
thought
5.5
that Wesley
furlongs.
Ward seems to win these races. They
Yeah.
have speed. The horse did lose at 1-5 and 2-5 in its debut, but that's not to say it can't beat this field. And I just didn't really know where else to go. I mean, Carly Hustle, my second choice in here. I don't know. I mean, she's just like she has some speed, and maybe she'll improve for Merton Cantermachi, but. Comes from a trainer that's 21%, so it's not like you're coming from a trainer that doesn't win. And I mean, you've got a 15-second. That horse timed that horse with a sundial.
Yeah, listen.
I'm not saying the horse can't win.
Right. No, it's a race full. You know
What's probably one of the more logical horses in here is High School Crush. Go for 8 in the dirt, but this horse, might be some pace in here. And this horse, I mean, you tell me
I didn't think there was. I just thought Line was going to go to the lead.
Well,
The reason I really like Line.
Carly Hustle hasn't
going with
slowed.
5.5. Just these horses, like you said, these Wesley Ward horses, they're trained for
maybe,
speed.
yeah, but
Just going to bottom the field out. I'm
Bottom.
not too enthusiastic about the race, but I mean, she's supposed to just go. And then ordinarily, whoever's chasing, I don't want the horses chasing, so I'm hoping a horse like Bella Dominica can pick up some pieces. But
I want to bet you that the 9 beats the 15.
go ahead, Andy.
Come on.
Really. Yeah, you're so obsessed with this. You're obsessed.
You don't
with
have to
this.
bet it.
Just take it. Just go ahead.
No, I don't want to
No,
bet
I'll
negative.
take it. I'll take Rudy. I got Rudy. It's Rudy.
Would
It's
you
the only
like-
reason I'm
would you
taking
like
the
to
bet.
bet or
It's
not?
Rudy. Yes, it's fine. Take it.
Don't. 9 over 15. I'm trying to give you something to root for today. I'm trying to make your day
I'm
more
driving
fun.
home today. I don't need a route. I will not be. I can't. I mean, I guess I'll listen.
What is
It's
so
a new
important
car.
down in Queens that you got to get home? Jesus, baby.
Gotta go see Mom.
Tell
Gotta
Phyllis.
go-
I'm going to tell Phyllis, and tell Phyllis, seriously, her loss is my gain.
Gotta go see Mom.
Her loss is my gain. We're going to take a break. Oh, by the way, race number
just
5
asked the question. You
picks
don't let me answer
begins
it.
the pick 6 with a $257,000, $811 carryover.
Yep.
It was a rhetorical ask.
Oh.
We'll be back in a moment.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
The answer to the trivia question was Keeneland wasn't open in April of
This guy, man.
2020.
Well, you are just taking advantage of me today.
You deserve it.
You're just taking advantage
Deserve
of me
it.
today.
Race number 6
Wanna go
begins
home.
the late. Anthony, you got a job to do. Don't give me I want to go home. Seriously, stop.
I do.
Seriously, the race number 6, 2-year-old maidens. I'm going to start with a holy moly race. I'm going to start with the number
What'd you
6.
give me a holy moly for
Your
here?
selections are amusing.
Amusing.
Yeah, we'll start with Girl in a Rush. Or it's actually Gal in a Rush. I apologize. I was in a rush. I was a guy in a rush, apparently. Worked I thought a very good 10 and a 5th. Not super fast. West Point paid a lot of money for this horse. No, not interested.
My top scribble's no good. The dam was 2 for 14 on the turf. Both wins came on the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Go Zapper, which has plenty of turf influence. I appreciate the fact that they waited to run this horse 6 furlongs by Go Zapper out of a Dynaforma mare, but I'm thinking this horse is more turf, and maybe they're getting this horse a race going 3/4 to have at least a little foundation
Hang
to go a mile and a 16th later on in the meet.
Hang on a second.
Hang
Christophe
on
Gallant
what?
does nothing but run first-time stars in the turf and do well with them. Wouldn't he have run this horse in the turf right away?
I guess, but you asked me why,
But I'm
and I'm answering you.
But I'm going to give you the counterpoint to that. This is a trainer who is good with first-time starters in turf sprints and turf routes as any trainer around. Where does his record show that he gives him a prep race on dirt.
I don't
for
know,
run
Andy.
turf.
I'm just
No,
telling
where
you what
does it
I
show?
think.
And I'm explaining to you that it's flawed logic. If the
Okay.
reason you leave the 6 out is you think they're
I have a
prepping for a
fourth.
turf race, but
I have a fourth.
we were discussing
You
why.
have a third.
We're discussing why you say you didn't like this horse particularly. I think that's flawed logic. You don't think it's flawed logic?
No, I don't. Obviously, I didn't think it was flawed logic if I said it. And you're acting like you have this horse on top. You have the horse third, I have the horse fourth.
No, I'm not. I'm acting like I'm trying to tell people what I think the story is.
Okay.
This is a trainer that does nothing but run first-time starting 2-year-olds in turf races, routes and sprints, and I don't recall him ever running a turf horse first time in the dirt, unless he thought the horse could be a dirt horse.
Okay.
He had a horse who turned out to be a very good turf horse, ended up, may have won those approval horses, may have won the Breeders' Cup, mile, and he kept running that horse in the dirt early, and I asked him, I said, you must really like this horse to run the dirt, given the pedigree. He said, yes, I do. I want to run this horse in the dirt because I think this is a dirt horse until he proves me
Zal
he's not.
approval?
Yeah, one of those approvals. Yeah, one of them. There's a live oak. It started with him. I think Mark Cassidy ended up with it. Anyhow, what's up with the one, Shared Future?
Like the gate work, 3-back. The turf work last time's a little interesting. I don't know what that was all about, but big turf Tomlinson, though, so maybe they were thinking this was
This one has a big turf pedigree.
But this horse's work, but the turf work's awful, and the 2 dirt works out of the gate are pretty fast. Draws inside.
You don't
should
think
like
it's
a wet
odd
track.
that he, I mean, I'm not, obviously he can win. It's Steve Asmussen. I didn't want this horse, but you don't think it was odd he worked it on the turf?
I
sort
do.
of indicating that he might have wanted to run the horse in the turf. 'cause
Yeah,
he may
and
not
then
have
he worked the horse on the turf, and after 2 what appear to be really good dirt works, the horse didn't work on the turf, and he decided to run the horse on the surface the horse was working well over.
I picked the 2-4 down for Brad Cox, who also working well at Keeneland. This horse after Joe Frazier. 2 of the foals from the dam were pretty solid runners. I thought this one was dangerous. I think the Chad Brown runner, the 5, Demand Respect. I've never seen this owner. Have you? You seen it? First row
Yes,
partners?
but I don't remember who.
You have, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar.
I remember this. You know what was funny? I remember the silks. Unless I'm losing my mind, I remember these
Well,
silks.
you've lost your mind.
Winter.
but-
I think I want to say winter time.
Okay, cool. Roundabout's a half to Killy Begg's captain, but sold fairly cheaply. Knowing Glance, Al Stahl, you got the horse second.
Yeah, just another horse. Good gate work. Back down in Kentucky at Churchill Downs. No real information there. I thought the horses that were going to take money in here were a little suspect. The Gallon of Rush, Chad Brown horse, the 5. So I went with a couple of different looks.
Race number 7. I wanted to pick against this horse. This horse lost at a short price last time. We'll show Kaylee's sister's last race at Churchill. Lost it 1-2. Has been odds on in 3 straight races with only 1 win. This horse is the kind of horse you're supposed to want to bet against. I searched far and wide for somebody better than this horse, and I just couldn't find anybody. But the race it won, it beat the 5 Polished Gem, in a 4-horse field. I don't know, man. Do you have a lot of confidence in this horse?
No, but this horse is. How do you pick against this horse off the last 2 races?
I can't. Not in this field.
Right?
I agree.
Right.
I wanted to.
I mean, she has. And besides the 2 figs, she doesn't run of the race on the front end. It was really. I mean.
Isn't Santana going to go though with Polished Gem? I mean, she was engaged with
Blinkers
her
on.
in the race.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Well, she's as fast.
I don't know. I mean,
Ricardo's not exactly a guy who's shy.
No,
on the
he's
front
not.
End.
No, he's not. But I mean, you know how much faster she has to get to beat this horse?
I'm going to say beat her. I'm just talking
Just to
about
go
run
with
with
her?
her. You
Yeah,
said
yes.
speed. I didn't say beat her. I said run with her.
I guess.
I like Haddo to pay for second.
Okay.
Maybe off the trainer switch to Patty Reynolds. But I can't make. I mean, the 7 basically has to just not run, and these horses have to run probably better than they've run to beat her.
And the problem is, it looks like she goes. Polished Gem's either on, trying to go with her or sit in second, and then the rest of them all want to do the same. Really want to do the same thing.
On paper, it's very hard to see her lose. And she's probably the single of this pick 6 sequence.
If you're
But
singling
man,
today, she's the horse. If you need a single, it's a combination of her last 2 races.
I need a few singles, a nice selection.
And who else are you going to? I mean, who else do you trust? I mean, not that you trust her, but who else do you trust?
I'm with you. Well, I trust the others I just don't know if they're nearly good enough. The 7 shows up, she's going to win. But you got to admit, 3 races, 2 at 1-2 and 1 at 3-5 and 1 win. So that means she was in races she was supposed to win. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a little bit hard to, it's just a little hard to fathom. I don't know. But I can't bet against her either. I can't. Race number 8. Off the turf. This was the one I think I felt bad about because it's a nice race.
Yeah, good race. It's okay. It's an okay race on a.
Surprising that Kristoff keeps scratching City Man off the turf. I guess he's just a better turf
Must
horse.
must not want to,
Just a
keep
better
flipping,
horse,
flopping.
he's
Yeah,
decided to make him a turf
the
horse,
right.
yeah.
You don't want to keep flip flopping.
Yeah, that makes a certain amount of sense.
Great point. Or no?
No, not even a good point. But you've gone to Dak Daniels. I'm sorry, I should have shown the replay. But have at it. Talk about Dak Daniels.
Coming back quick. 10 days. Got the job done last time. This horse has run well. Got a couple of wins. In fact, this horse's only loss on a wet track was his debut. It was in the one race closing day of 2019 at Belmont Park.
Does it matter? He didn't run.
Well,
he'd run better on dry tracks than wet tracks.
He has. He's run fast.
So why do you care about the wet tracks? I'd say the wet track's a detriment to him, frankly.
He runs well on wet tracks. The 1 1/8.
It's not a detriment. It's not a help. I mean, you can't pick him because
I think he's going to be laying up close.
Don't you worry that he beat a non-winners of one race 10 days ago, going 9 furlongs, and now he's running against just a kind of tougher, hardened, grizzled veteran field?
Isn't he? You know, and obviously you have to handicap the race, re-handicap the race a little bit after the scratches, but. The horse that's going to that figures to be the speed in here, Yankee Division. I think even you'll agree with this. He can't stand up on a wet track.
He's run poorly on wet tracks, but I'm going to tell you something. They're going to send him today, and I'll tell you something else, Anthony. How confident this URU's track's going to be really wet by 5:05 today?
That track's sloppy.
How confident are you that this track is going to be really wet?
Maybe you're right, and maybe listen. That's probably why they left him in. They see the sun's coming out. They see a little bit of.
Isn't that like a song? Shouldn't you break into song with the sun coming out?
Here comes the sun.
No, there's a better song than that.
There's a better.
No, not. It's a great song. You make a great point. Wow. Let's take a look at locally owned.
Let's go to the
I think locally owned is dangerous in here. If locally owned runs this race from 2 back, wouldn't you agree he's very tough?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the question you have to ask yourself a little bit is, where did this come from? Right? He had a couple of races last fall in Kentucky, one at Keeneland, one at Churchill, where he was kind of, the trajectory was there for him to run a race like this. And then he ran 2 just abysmal efforts. Where did this race come from? And he ran. Where did it come from?
Well, he's run some good races in the past, Anthony. Horse was okay last year when Al Stall had him.
I'll tell you what, prior to that race, his fastest fig comes right here at Saratoga. So I think you're hoping, based on the race 2 back and the fact that he's getting to a place where he's run a fast race already, he's supposed to run well today. He ran so well 2 back, and he was not good last time. He was bad last time.
Yeah, but he was in a better field, and he was bad, but he's not. That's an aberrant race. I considered picking him on top. I think he's dangerous. Listen, you've got him second.
Yeah, well, listen, I have no problems with him.
Well, you have a problem with him, and it's fair. He ran poorly last time. You say you have a problem with him.
The last race is the big issue because everything else, the big race 2 starts back, the big race at Saratoga last year.
What about Chris and Dave? He lost the funniest race last time. They knew Bodie Cream was going to run last time. They just knew it.
It's amazing.
That horse could have been 50-1 in there. He probably should have been scratched. Right?
It was amazing. Yeah. Just kept on. And he kept coming. He started running at like the 7/16 pole and didn't stop. He did not stop until he ran Chris and Dave down. It was a pretty remarkable effort. He got the job done. Chris and Dave, he's Hickory. He just shows up. Look at this horse's line. 70 starts, 15, 19, 10. Runs all over the country. He's a really nice horse. He's only run twice here at Saratoga. I'm sorry?
He's a machine.
He's a machine.
Yeah.
He's a machine. He's 8 years old, and he just keeps earning.
I feel like somebody's going to run better than him today.
Yeah.
But he can win.
That's what ordinarily happens.
You know me. I'm betting Winston's chance.
Yeah, of course. But
Well-
he's a must. He's a must use on a track like this, and the way this race is supposed to unfold for him.
Supposed to get a decent trip. I
Yeah.
thought he ran fine behind Highest Honors. Good trip last time, but he ran fine off the layoff. I don't love him, but I think he's good enough to win this race. I do love him, actually. He's one of my pets. I love Winston's chance. I'm going to come on and say it. He's unbelievably cool. Look at him. 19 times first and second
Hickory,
with
man.
10 wins,
25
37
times
starts.
in the try.
8 years old, comes off a 7-month layoff and runs a 91 buyer.
Remarkable.
I mean, if you don't love this horse, you don't love any
Fun
horses.
horse.
Right.
A couple of fun horses.
And I just
in
thought
this
he'd be,
race.
he's a horse that usually gets a little lost. I'm going to probably use mostly the 6, 14, and 16 here.
Okay.
But it'll be interesting to see what Yankee Division does now the track is playing. And the other thing is, if speed's good, you know he's going, and sometimes get a wet track, and if he's able to clear,
Just keeps
a
going.
bit dangerous in the
Yeah.
front end, not getting any mud kicked in their face. Race number 9, the Shoe V.
The Niner.
How much do you love Shoe V? You know that I saw her, I think her first foal sell.
I did not know that.
Her first foal was
Learn
named-
something new every day here.
You know who owned her first foal?
I don't.
Tom Swift. I think he may have won
Wow.
the Seneca, which was the mile and 5A stake we used to run here. He didn't win it, he was third.
Okay.
I think it was a Tom Rolfe. Tom Rolfe is before your time.
Yeah.
I think he was Tom Rolfe,
Yes.
Shoe V, and which makes sense, right? Tom Swift. He sold the first night I ever went to the Saratoga auctions in 1974. I've told this story before. It was the night that Richard Nixon resigned.
Wow.
And they stopped the auction to play Nixon's resignation speech.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was there with my friend Larry, who had been in Vietnam. And it was a very memorable evening. And Shoe V's first foal sold.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That's all I got. But Shoe V also, by the way, for those that don't know, look her record up. She won the Diana twice. She's truly on a very short list of the greatest race mares that ever lived. Just an unbelievable career for her. Just an incredible, incredible racehorse. I know you just love Dunbar Road. Nobody loves Dunbar Road as much as Anthony. Anthony likes Dunbar Road, I think, more than Chad Brown and Peter Brandt.
I do.
Chad Brown said to me one day, he goes, I know Anthony loves Dunbar Road. Like, you were always like, he almost felt bad that he wasn't sure she was going to win some race because he said, like, he didn't want to let you down.
I love her.
You have to admit, her last race is a concern, Anthony.
Well, yes. No question. I mean,
She didn't do any running at all.
she laid up, got into contention behind She Dares the Devil, and when the real running began at the 3/8 pole, she just went the wrong
Did
way.
nothing. Did nothing.
And that was the first off the Breeders' Cup. She had a couple of missteps last year. Apparently now she had a throat infection. She's over the throat infection now.
Excuse me.
She's a horse who has run very well. We just saw it on a wet track here at Saratoga.
Well, she was also very good then.
She was.
She was a different horse
She
back
was.
then.
Yeah.
She
I
was.
mean,
I don't think the reason you're supposed to like her is a wet track.
So I feel like she is. If she was to find the right bunch of horses, this is it.
Well, except she runs her last race, she's getting nothing.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I don't think you can. I wouldn't expect her to run her last race. That's me. I wouldn't expect her to run her last race. Obviously, she needed a little more time. She got the time, and now she comes up here. And again, I'll tell you what, today's put up or shut up for her. Because if she's not competitive here,
I agree.
If she's not competitive here, you got to think about maybe wrapping it up.
Unless she is a horse that sometimes needs a race. And
Yeah.
can say she had a race this year, but she hasn't won one in 3 months.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying she has to go and win by 5. I'm saying that she has to. She has to show up. If she runs the race she ran last time,
not winning.
Then you have to have a lot of concern going forward.
I don't like Crystal Ball. We'll show her last race at Turfway. I don't like at Thistledown. I don't like Horologist. I think Horologist just doesn't seem to have anything anymore. I can't take her off this effort. And I always liked her, so I don't want to. But I think she just lost her races. I just think, I know Crystal Ball probably has a reasonable trip here, though the 3 Liberty MD has to be going in here. She's very quick. She's a consistent horse. I just think there's better horses in here.
Yeah.
at least in her case, she's in good form.
She is in good form. She's going to have to deal with the outlier here, Liberty MD.
Well, she's got to be going.
Race.
I mean, but she's got to go.
Right.
Got to go.
Got to go. So
at least with Liberty MD, you're betting a horse that's got upside. I mean, she'll need it. She'll need an enormous amount of upside.
Yes.
I like Royal Flag here.
Okay.
Show her last race at Keeneland. And you could argue she hung in this race. She also hung to Bonnie South, who came back and ran well in the Phipps before she just completely fell apart in the Del Cap. I think this horse is sort of consistently good, and it feels like you look at her, she seems reliable to show up and run her best race.
Yeah.
And I just thought she's been reliable in her career, and you may want her. She's faster than Crystal Ball, and she's more reliable. And she's more reliable than the others in here.
Got beat up here last year in this race when it was moved to the latter part of the meet by Latruska, who's done very little wrong since.
Well, that's not true. I'd bet her in her next start, Latruska, the Beldame.
That was the only one, right? Yeah. Sorry, Andy. I apologize. I'm sorry that she threw in the clunker when you bet on her.
Did something wrong. She did very wrong.
Yeah.
Gold Spirit. What do you think of when you see Gold Spirit?
Well,
You know?
no.
Same connections had Wild Spirit.
Oh, okay.
Frankel trained.
Oh, Bobby Frankel. Yeah,
Wild
sure.
Spirit, Boston Personal Ensign's chief. And I believe Jean-Luc Semien.
Why is there a single on me talking about?
Because my mic is not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bobby Frankel, of course, Chad Brown's mentor. This horse comes up from Chile. Chad's had some success with these horses. He had Wildcat, who came up from South America and did some good here for him. And we'll see. This horse comes in. This horse comes in off of 19. Let's do. Come back. We'll hear from our friends at Saratoga Water again, and we'll come back in a few minutes.